the dating world, feeling-based offenses are considered especially heinous. At Norfolk State University, the dedicated friends who investigate these vicious felonies are members of the elite squad known as the Special Friends Unit. These are their stories.
The time I got played, it was not too long ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. I was out with my friends at Green Street, the best club in Greensboro, kid you not. And there was this guy who everybody knew. He had a little bit of money, you know, he's a little Insta fame, whatever. And he was trying to talk to me. Well, at least I thought then he was trying to talk to me. So he was like, "Oh, what you drinking?" And I was like, "You know, I'm drinking some Hennessy and Coke. You want some?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I bought him one. He gave me his number. I texted him the next day, and he didn't text me back.
The time I got played, alright. So it was November, you know, I was just getting over somebody else from getting played the first time, you know, and I have a record of doing this. So basically, you know, I was chilling, cooling, and I had, you know, seen somebody from the past, and we was kicking it up, chalking it up. Everything was going good, so then he's like, "Well, you know, I got a roommate," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." He was like, "But we used to date, but it's not even on that level no more, you know, we just friends," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool, like, you know, sometimes that happens." He's like, "But I'm moving out in April," so I'm like, "Okay, cool." So from there, like, we talking every day, we're on the phone, FaceTime, you know. But on this FaceTime call, I noticed nobody's in the house, and every time he's on the phone, I'm like, nobody's ever in the house. I'm like, so they must not be, the roommate must never be home. So I'm like, okay, this is cool, you know, maybe I'll go over there one day. So I asked to go over there one day, and I got the runaround. Well, I didn't know it was a runaround, but it was cool. So moving forward, he got like a promotion. So he said he was going to start with his mom. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we texted, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I'll get the job in DC." And I was like, "Okay, cool, you know, long distance." And he was like, "No distance, no." And I was like, "Oh, okay, no, it's cool. We could just, you know, be friends and stuff like that." So I look, like a few weeks later, like we still talking, texting. A few weeks later, a few weeks go by, you know, texting dwindles down. I look on Snapchat, and why did I see this man was engaged? I was sick of my life the time I got played.
This is a story about the time I got played. There's this guy, whatever, me and him were cool, you know, the usual. And one day, you know, didn't think anything of it, you know, just take a picture, you know, how us kids and, well, you know, adults, whatever you want to call us, doing this generation, took a picture and posted it on Instagram. So he started acting real funny like a couple of days later. And then he was like asking me a lot of questions like, "Oh, has anyone ever hit you up about the picture or whatever?" So eventually I took the picture down, but then maybe like 2-3 days later, a girl comes in my DM and was like, "Hey, do y'all talk? Are y'all together?" Like basically just asking our status. And then it clicked to me like, he's talking to both of us at the same time.
The time I played someone is more like the time I played 3 women, so, well, girls, women, whatever. All right, so we get to school, and we just lollygagging around. I go talk to one girl, it's not feeling right. I go talk to the other girl the next period, just not feeling right. Talk to the other girl, it's not feeling right. And it's, for some reason, it's just not feeling right the whole day. So we get to lunch and learn, which we have like an hour lunch. So it's just like one of those things you just walking around, and 2 of my best friends just come up behind me and just grab 2 of my arms. They pick me up, and we just go on in Mr. Carter class. He's like, go. You gotta hide. And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on? We're gonna tell you." So I run to Mr. Carter. I'm like, "Yo, my friends told me I gotta hide. They about to tell me." He was like, "Yeah, just go right here." He was like, "Yo, Blase, and Blase are chasing you. They finally got together, and they understand that you talking to all 3 of them." I'm like, "Yo, I felt it today. Like, I knew it was gonna happen. Like, out of all times, I just knew it was gonna happen today." So I'm sitting there, I'm peeking out the classroom. It's like, this is the door, and I'm like peeking around, like, oh shit. I'm like, "Yo, there they go." So I go hide under the desk, being childish. I think it's like 11th grade. So we get to the end of lunch and learn, the end of the hour lunch, and I go to my last class, which I had one of the classes with the girl. That was the last class. We get there, and she's just in front of my class, just crying, just bawling, like, "What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand what's going on. She's like, you do that? How could you do that? I knew it. And I'm like, no, I really didn't. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I really don't know what's going on. So, sat there and, of course, I finessed the whole situation. I must admit, I kind of finessed it. She believed me. The others didn't believe me. One believed me. One wasn't with it. It was just a whole big conglomerate mess. That's the one time I played 3 females.
Alright, so I was dating this guy, and basically we were dating for a while, and he tried to play me, and I went to his room one night, and he was supposed to come to my room to spend the night, so he wasn't answering my phone calls, and so I went and knocked on his door, and it was a girl in his room. So he opened up the door, and I just beat his ass.
So when I first came to Norfolk State as a freshman, summer bridge, found me a sweetheart. Thought she was the one, first girl, whatnot. Came, you know, had my own spot off campus. Always stayed with me every night, getting real comfortable in them cheeks. So after time goes by, long story short, you know, she goes back to her dude from back home, and I was left dolo. And ever since then, you know, I always had this savage mentality when it came to females. But that's my story how I got played.
I got played. Me and my boyfriend were supposed to meet up for Valentine's Day, and he never showed after calls and calls and calls and texts. I didn't hear anything from him. So that night, I decided I'm gonna go to his house and see what went on. So actually my friend drove me to the house, and I'm walking up to his apartment door, and I see some girl with hella bags, and I'm like, excuse me, where are you going? And she said my boyfriend's house, and I was like, oh, okay. So I jet to the door, I'm banging on the door like frantically. And then she's asking me questions. He not opening the door. I'm sitting outside. My friend's waiting. Her friends come. It's like a waiting game at this point. He's in the house. We see the TV is on. We see the lights on. All of a sudden, they get turned off. Okay, so I can say I got there about 12 o'clock. No, 12 a.m., excuse me. Didn't leave until 3 a.m., close to 4. Lo and behold, he was messing with both of us, and he took her out on Valentine's Day instead of me, so that's the time I got played.
First of all, you gotta know it's levels to this shit. If you playing someone, make sure that you always come out on top. At the time I played someone was about 2-3 years ago. Everything was cool, you know, that's the first step. Never let them see you sweat. Play it cool, do the same things that you do every day. Go to work, go to the gym. Don't change up the schedule. But while they're doing what they're doing, make sure that you're always coming out as number one. When I play someone, you know, did everything that I normally do. But having their account number, went into their account, snatched a couple hundreds out, got me a new apartment, now they're homeless, living with their mother. And that check that. Hold on one fucking second. Actually, Karma is a motherfucking bitch. Let me tell you about the time I got motherfucking played. The apartment that I bought, this the funny shit. My cousin was staying with me for a couple months. You know, I try to help motherfuckers out. I try to do my good motherfucking deeds as a Christian. That's the shit that I try to do as a motherfucking Christian. I try to help motherfuckers out. You know, give them a place to stay and shit, you know. Put some food on the motherfucking table, because that's just who the fuck I am as a motherfucking Christian and shit. So he fucking staying there. I'm working all motherfucking day, because I'm about that coin. Know that shit. I come in, and he fucking a motherfucking girl in my motherfucking bed, the same one that I just motherfucking left. Now look at that shit. That's some real shit.
This vlog episode was obviously about the time I got played. Now, I could be the person who told the story or someone else's story.
Yeah. So we just basically went around asking people about the time they got played, and we just used their stories and whatnot.
Yeah, so some people didn't want to be on camera, and some people didn't want anyone to know what it was, so it was anonymous. And we didn't use every story that we got, but we used a couple of them, and they were actually pretty hilarious. So I hope y'all tune in and y'all like this, because y'all be like, what?
It's ultimately really sad, but like, it's like,
And can you guys give us like feedback? Thanks. At the end when you're done watching this video. You know,
also,
like when the gray and the red hits each other and the video's over.
Also, things you want to see us talk about or do. You know, we can do skits, we can do DIYs, which is do it yourself for people at home who don't know what that is. Anything. We're open to everything. We're a new vlog, obviously, so.
All criticism is accepted. You're not gonna hurt our feelings, I promise.
I don't care. I mean, I do care.
I care, but
you're not
like, oh my god. Yeah,
I'm not gonna